Jay, what did you think of the execution for Washington of that 52-yard game winner?
Well, it worked, didn't it? So it's perfect. Perfect execution. Jayden Daniels was incredible, buying a time, letting his receivers get down there and get in position to make a play. The offensive line was incredible, just hanging on those three poor rushers who were gassed. They couldn't come close to them. The linemen were pummeling them. It was awesome to see. It was just well executed. You know, you like to think you have a plan, but you're going down there, meeting down there at a certain point, throw the ball up. Hopefully, you have a couple jumpers that tip it, one guy trailing, one guy behind it. And hopefully, it works out. You know, it's not as easy a look there. That looked easy, but those are very hard to complete. That's why they're called Hail Marys.
Jay, as a coach, this would be my impression as a Pudgy Zilch outside looking in. But a game like that would be perfect if I was a head coach, because you still get the win, right? You get to enjoy all the spoils that come from being atop your division in 6-2, but there's 1,000,000,001 things to go over film-wise, like where you ain't that great yet, right? Some correctable stuff, etc. How would you view yesterday? Obviously, they got the win, which is the most important thing, but there was also a lot wrong.
There were some things wrong, but the most impressive thing I think this Commander team does, they protect the football, man, and they punt when they have to punt. You know, they missed a field goal, unfortunately, for the first time, I think, this year, since they made the change. But you're going to win some ugly games like this. Chicago's got a good defense. They don't give up big plays. They're a good tackling team. They're a good run defense. So it's going to be a grind some of these weeks. You're going to have to win ugly. I didn't like the fact they gave up that long touchdown run to Swift. They lost contain and didn't do a good job pursuing on that one. And in the last touchdown drive, they let Caleb get out of the pocket and throw a little dump-off scramble play for gain of 30. Other than that, defense played pretty damn good. And offensively, I thought Jayden did some good things. He had some great conversions on third down with his legs, 2 of them. Nice bomb for Terry McLaurin for a 3rd down and 9 or 3rd down and 10. They didn't finish drives, which is frustrating a little bit, so they'll have that to go over. But overall, I think it was a pretty solid game against a pretty solid defense.
Jay Gruden on G&D. I want to go back to the Hail Mary. So Jayden said after the game, his coaching point is basically to not throw the ball out of the back of the end zone. What else on that play is his job? I mean, you got to buy some time, clearly, but you never see anyone buy that much time. I mean, is it just buy as much as possible because the more the merrier, like the more the better? How do you coach him?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, especially since they had such a long way to go. The 14-yard or 12-yard completion before the Hail Mary was critical for them to have a chance to get the ball close to the end zone. I mean, that was a huge play. And then you're just trying to just buy enough time to let your guys get down there, throw it up there as high as you can with some velocity, and let those guys make a play. But you're right. The cardinal sin is thrown out of the back of the end zone. Most quarterbacks do that at the end of the half when they don't want to throw a pick for their stats. Drives me crazy. But at the end of a game, you got to keep it in play to give your guys a chance, and they did that.
The diamond formation that they supposedly were running with a tip man in the back, a front guy, and then 2 on the sides. Is that the only way to do a Hail Mary? And what are the roles there?
Typically, we just did a bunch set, and we all ran down there. We always used to try to meet at the numbers, so everybody had a landmark. So if we did 3 by 1, the guy by himself, he'd be the trailer coming across the formation. The 3 guys would go up there, and 2 would be jumpers, and 1 would try to play the ricochet from behind everybody, and the other guy would come and get the ricochet in front of everybody. So you have 2 jumpers and 1 guy behind, 1 guy in front, and you just throw it up there. I mean, it's really no art to it. It's pure luck, and hopefully you get a good tip and a good bounce and then make a play. Sometimes the jumper can go up and catch the ball. That happened with Lazard a couple times with Aaron Rodgers. So if you can catch it, catch it. If you can't catch it, then you got to try to hit it with your fist or try to tip it up or back or front.
Jay Gruden with us here on G&D. Jay, as a head coach, what would you do with Tyreek Stevenson, really good football player, who at the start of that play was jawing with fans and literally not looking at the line of scrimmage? Then he's the guy that touched it to allow it to go to Noah Brown. What would the conversation go?
Well, first I'd have a conversation with my staff and say, who the hell is anybody watching our guys? We need to take a timeout, get these guys, get some poise about them, get their ass back in position where they need to be. They had 3 timeouts. Can't take them with you. They should have called timeout before the Hail Mary or before the play before the Hail Mary, one of them, and just calmed everybody down and got everybody right. So that's number 1. Number 2, the kid's got to learn from it. You know, it's an emotional game out there. He thought he had the win. He's talking a little trash. I'm sure he's been getting trash talked by a lot of fans, so he's giving it back. And but obviously you can't have that. The kid's very sorry about it. I know the coaches are pissed off about it, but you got to address it and move on.
Jay Gruden, Grant and Danny here on The Fan. The play before the Hail Mary, I thought was even, I don't want to say worse malpractice for the Bears staff, but I don't understand what they were thinking there. Like, to me, they played everybody a mile off the line of scrimmage to take away the Hail Mary with 8 seconds to go. And Washington correctly, smartly said, okay, well, we'll get into Hail Mary range. And we're just going to take a free 15. It ended up being 13. So they got from the 35 to the 48 out of bounds with 2 seconds. It wasn't even really bang, bang or close. I just thought not playing the sidelines and trying to take that away was ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all, especially in the boundary. Maybe put Jalen Johnson and press him on Terry McLaurin into the boundary and run with him down the sideline. If he runs a go ball, you're running with him. And if he runs an out route, you knock it away or pick six it. You just can't give up a 10-yard out route and give them a chance to hit a Hail Mary. If they don't get that 10-yard out route, they're going to probably have to do hook and lateral or something like that because the Hail Mary would have been out of reach. So I know they had the fence coverage because they ran it before the half, 2 plays before the end of the half. They had the coverage. I don't know why they didn't call it there, but I'm sure that's another one these guys are going to be losing sleep over because this is a game that I'm sure Chicago thought they should have won. But I personally believe the better team won. I think Washington outplayed them the entire game except for a couple plays on defense.
Why don't teams rush more against Hail Marys? 5th guy. Last week, the Lions did it, sacked Sam Darnold at the end of the game, ended the game, 2-point win. You see almost always it's 3. Or if you really want to be gutsy, it's 4, and then you have 7 covering. I'm not suggesting going 0 or something, right? And being really ballsy. Like, it seems to me like the standard procedure should be rushing 5 to get the ball out of a guy's hand.
Yeah, or disrupting one of the receivers. I mean, you can play bump and run and disrupt them and make it take longer to get down there. You still have 3 or 4 guys back there to play the Hail Mary. But yeah, some teams done simulated pressures, which is 4 or 5 man pressure, which is always good because you want the quarterback to get hit in the face and not be able to step into the throw. You got to throw the ball 65 yards. You got to you got to step into the son of a gun. If you got somebody on you rushing you or the pocket's collapsing, you can't get the ball out there. So yes, I would absolutely rush 5. I never would rush 3 with a spy. They had a spy on the quarterback. Where's he going to go? Scramble for 70 yards? That was the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen. But, yeah, I'm sure they're kicking themselves with the way they handled the last 2 plays. But I definitely would rush 5 at least, just make sure the quarterback couldn't step into the throw.
Jay, what did you make of Washington in the red zone? Listen, it's easy to say I didn't like a play call because they didn't score touchdowns. But there were a couple I'm kind of going, that's it? Like kind of a slow developing interior power run to Brian Robinson without a ton of space. Not much misdirection going on there. I remember one of the goal line calls, for example. What'd you make of what they did in the red zone?
I think they were probably just trying to be physical with him and try to get the ball, and they try to eliminate some of the quarterback design runs for Jayden because of his injury. I think they probably have been a little more creative had it not been for his rib injury, although he did, have 8 carries for 50 yards or whatever it was.
Yep.
And maybe they thought they'd get some movement based on film work. So I don't know. It's pick your poison down. You throw the ball and playing a lot of coverage. You're saying, damn, I should have run it. And you run the ball, you get stopped for gain of 1. You say, damn, I should have thrown it. It's all about execution for your team, but you got to try to do what you think is best suited for your team going against that opponent. And they obviously thought it was running it.
What do you make of the mechanics now sometimes where they're going no huddle, but they substitute, and then it seems like we're just waiting for a big lineman to kind of jog off the field, right? I mean, that seems to be you're now at the mercy of some 330-pound guy that's out of breath when you're trying to go fast. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I just assume huddle. If you're going to sub, you might as well huddle because you got to wait for the defense to sub with you. So you're going to be standing at the line like a bunch of, that's standing there looking at each other. But that's their process. That's their way of, spicing things up, going fast, playing fast, making teams react fast. That's the way they do it. I don't like the substitution part of the no huddle. I think it defeats the purpose, but they have their rhyme and reason for it.
Speaking of red zone and play calling, the 1 yard line play where they gave the ball to the lineman as an up back, that one was tough for me, Coach. I mean, you got all these weapons. You got Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, more running backs you can shake a stick at who have made plays in the game in this season, and you're giving the ball to a dude who looks like me wearing 60 whatever. What are we doing there?
He did look like, I know Shane Walter pretty good. I don't understand that one. That's one of those risk-reward things. I think I brought this up earlier. What's the risk? fumbling at the one with a lineman, yeah, we're not going to run this play. Not a chance in hell. The reward is a touchdown where we can give it to, they gave it to Rashawn Johnson or later in the game. They got the touchdown. I think they would rather have done that. I can see throwing a pass to a big fat guy, but not handing the ball off. I know Fridge did it back in Chicago back in 1972 or whatever it was, but not many other guys have done it. Now, there's a reason why, because there is ball handling involved, and these linemen aren't used to running between tackles. They're not doing ball security drills before practice like they're running backs and receivers. So that's a tough call for me. I don't think I could pull that one off.
I don't know if you guys saw this, Danny. I don't know if you saw this either, but Dan Orlovsky today on ESPN was blaming Williams on that play. He said the handoff was too high. It was up near the chest. And I'm going, he's like, look at this pocket. And he's like breaking down the film. And he's like, the lineman's doing the right thing, giving him the pocket. You see, the ball's a little too high. I'm going, no, you're giving it to number 60 something.
Yeah, there's an issue there.
My guess is that guy's probably not that good at getting the handoff.
He was so low. I don't think he could have got the handoff way down there. He was way down there. That lineman, he was crouched down there. He's ready to just go pull duck in the pile. I don't know what the hell. That was a weird deal. That's something that I'm sure regret bad.
Jay, is Washington's defense good now?
They're playing great. I mean, a couple of the plays, I don't know how they're doing it. I think their linebacking play is pretty solid. They're mixing up the fronts, which is good. They're getting pressure from different people. It's nice to see Deron Payne get a sack. Secondary is doing a good job disguising their intent. They're playing 3. They're playing 2. They're playing different coverages. And they're playing hard. I think they're a lot like Chicago's defense. They don't give up very many big plays. They play hard and they tackle well. And that's usually when you have 2 defenses playing like that, it's going to be a lower scoring game and kicking field goals, and that's going to be the issue. But, I'm impressed with the way they're playing.
I thought Johnny Newton was great. When you went back and watched the tape, did he jump out at you at D-tackle at all?
He had some good plays. Yeah. I just like the way, Bobby Wagner, I like the way Wagner plays. And I think he's a great leader back there. He runs the show. You can tell the communication process is solid. They're not out of gaps like they were early in the season against Tampa Bay. They didn't look very good in some other games. They're sound in what they're doing, and they're tackling extremely well. And I think it's all led by Bobby, and Frankie's doing a good job playing off the edge, playing linebacker, and Chin's doing a good job. All these guys, Martin had, I think, 10 tackles. I mean, he was all over the place. So I've been impressed with their defense.
Jay, I wanted to ask you this sooner. How would you have approached Jayden Daniels playing in the game kind of throughout the week, right? Knowing that the long-term import of the player can't be overstated for an individual week. And if he's limited and if he's got to get a wrap around his body, whenever he comes out of the game, doesn't seem like he's at 100%. Like how would you have handled that thing all week?
One, I would make sure we have close communication with the doctors. I would never make a decision on whether a quarterback should or should not play based on what I feel like he can and can't do. Now, if he's very limited in the way he can throw the ball, then I wouldn't have played him. But obviously he wasn't. Mm-hmm. He threw the Hail Mary 66 yards in the air. So obviously he could get enough torque on his body so the ribs didn't affect the way he threw the ball. If he just had to deal with a little bit of pain and the doctor said, hey, we're going to pad it up and it's going to be protected and it won't be any long-term damage, I got to play him. I mean, hell, he's a hell of a player. You're right in the thick of things in this NFC East. Philadelphia is starting to pick it up a little bit, and every game matters. So if he can go and the doctors say it's okay and Jayden says it's okay, I'm playing the guy. That's just me.
Did you ever, as a quarterback or as a coach, were you on the right side of any Hail Marys at the end of games?
Yeah, Bengals 2013. We threw one against the Ravens at the end of regulation to AJ. It was almost exactly like the one that just happened. It was tipped up and AJ Green was the back and it bounced right to him for an easy completion.
It's funny how easy they look when they're executed like that. Like, I mean, it was just before Noah Brown caught it, you saw it all playing out. When the ball gets bounced up in the air, it's just like standing there and you're the only one there for a rebound.
Yeah, it was bizarre. But it was just. These guys just have problems jumping up in these DBs and just knocking it down. They just try to catch it, or I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. But, yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done. The ball's coming a long way. It's 65 yards in the air, and it's traveling. It's harder than you think to get a good hand on it and just bat it down. Guys are leaping all over. They're holding your arms down. It's hard to get both hands on the ball. So it's a unique play, and it's it works once every probably 20 times. But when it does work, it's awesome.
How did you feel about Chicago's defense and their plan against Washington? Even though Washington accumulated a bunch of yards, I know we add on 50-something at the end with that Hail Mary. In regulation, you're still talking about 425, 430 yards of offense, but it didn't feel like they were as connected and smooth kind of moving throughout. What do you think of Chicago's plan and how they kind of disrupted?
Yeah, I agree. I think Washington did pretty much move the ball at will up and down the field, and they just did a really good job in the red zone, or maybe it's Washington's lack of execution in the red zone or Chicago's execution, or one or the other. But I think, I was impressed with the way Washington handled that defense. The defense was pretty good coming in, and the plan was the way they always play. Eberflus is a coverage first guy, and he'll bring safety down if he gets hurt in the run, but he's not too concerned about the run because usually he stops it with the lighter box, plays more coverage, doesn't want to give up a big play, and they tackle good. And that's kind of been their MO, and that allowed Washington to run the ball a little bit. Robinson had about 60 yards. Jayden had a couple good hits. Eckler had one good hit at the end of the half that didn't really count. But yeah, it's one of those bend but don't break defenses, and you hope the team turns the ball over and you create turnovers. But Washington doesn't turn the ball over, so Bears could make any big plays defensively.
I'm nervous to even ask this, but I pulled up the clip here in front of me. So it actually gets redirected, basically tipped up in the air twice. And then Green makes the catch in the back of the end zone right on the S in Ravens. But I bring this up to ask, so it was 17-16. There was no time left. I see Marvin Lewis putting one finger up in the air. We're going to tie this thing to go to overtime. Did you guys end up winning the game?
No, we did not. We went to overtime and got the ball first, and we went for it on 4th down and 2. I tried some kind of idiotic screen pass, and we got snuffed out for a loss of 5. Thought I was going to get man and did a little cross pick screen and got man, but one guy didn't fall for it and lost 5. And then they went down and kicked the field goal and beat us. So yeah, I would have rather gone for 2 there, but what the hell?
I think after you hit the Hail Mary, you got to you're on the road in
You just
Baltimore.
go.
You probably go for 2
Let's
there.
get the hell out of here. You're on the sideline there for 3.5 hours. You're exhausted. Let's go. I got a good 2-point play, but that was my fault. I cost us on that damn play call on 3rd down. I can't believe I called 4th down. That was stupid.
I shouldn't have brought it up. I mean, I thought if it was a happy ending, then it would be a good thing.
Then it'd be fun to talk about.
Brought it up.
Yeah. No, but not happy.
Monday Night Football tonight, the Giants play the Steelers. If you were playing a team Sunday that was playing on Monday night, that sounded like a convoluted way to ask this. So like you are Dan Quinn, your opponent for this weekend's playing tonight. Do you watch that game like you normally would, kind of at home with the wife or whatever? Or are you in the office like there's no tape yet, but are you like taking notes and watching in a different way?
Well, you're definitely watching last couple of games that they played. Obviously, the Giants have had a tough run here as of late, and you're watching them play. And you already played them once. You play the Giants first and then the Steelers, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then once you get the film in the next morning, try to get a good night's sleep tonight to catch up, get in early in the morning, get the film. Film be already broken down by your assistants, and then you put it on and see if they're doing anything drastically different. Any quarterback designed runs, how much are they targeting Malik Neighbors? Who's our go-to guy to cover Malik Neighbors? What's going to happen here? What's their running game like? Has it changed? And defensively, you just got to take a look at Dexter Lawrence and figure out ways to get 4 hands on that big son of a gun, because he's the one guy that can beat you.
Jay, what do you usually do during the week on Fridays?
Fridays is usually our red zone day. We do the practice.
I think he means actually you,
No,
Jay
I mean
Gruden.
you right now. Like you're Jay Gruden right now. What are you doing on Fridays?
On Fridays, I'm probably playing golf there.
What about
Danny, what do you think I'm doing?
Well, this is like an awkward way to like ask someone out on a
By
date.
the way, the golf answer was pretty easy.
Well, I think I knew that.
Yeah.
Well, it's starting to get cold. Maybe he's not, but he is. So every Friday, Jay, we do these Friday field trips.
It just hasn't been this uncomfortable since I watched my buddy ask a girl.
Well,
out
I'm trying to work up the courage to do it.
Point.
Well, but it's like you have to finesse. You can't just like bulldoze in there.
Jay, one of these
Can
days,
you
will you
come?
come hang with us at a bar
Would you
for
ever
our
wanna come?
Friday pep rally?
Would you ever want to do
You
that?
asked me that like 6 weeks ago. I would have done it. I mean, I would have gladly done it, but now I'm going back to Florida. You feel the weather get colder here?
Yeah.
That's when I go to Florida.
Oh.
So I'll be in Florida.
Big Florida guy. Well, next time you are here on a Friday, let us know. We're getting some good crowds, man. People are fired up to come out and drink and be merry and talk about
I would
football.
love to, man. You should have asked me that 5 weeks ago. Jesus.
Well, next time. The timing's never been our thing.
Hey, we're not good at that.
You know that. Every now and then we call a
I'll
screen.
gladly come.
That was the
lose
go
it
for
5.
one at Baltimore of decisions by us. Sorry.
Yeah. If I'm back in town, I'll definitely do it for sure.
All right. Sounds good. So that wasn't too bad. I mean, you got
That was
rejected,
hard,
but
yeah.
he let you down nice.
What's the rejection? That's the hard part.
Indeed. Jay, thank you, buddy. Good catching up as always.